Fans of the Horus Heresy, the third, but not the second, not the fourth, and fifth is right out of the question, mark of armour, and the inevitable crusade towards a new, complete and superb range of plastic Space Marine models for the Horus Heresy. Did I say that again? Thank you very much for joining me for a video. We are going to do a, this is going to be a multi-modular video in which me, yours cheesily, faithful, crazy reviewer, is going to try splice a load of stuff together quickly. So I've not got a huge amount of time, but I do want to talk about the new Space Marines that are being released for the Heresy. So these are the MKIII Iron Armour, and in particular, they have been shipped and purchased by myself in a particular format of the Legiones Astartes battle group. There it is. Been waiting for this for a while, and this represents the second set of Space Marine armour reimaged in the new plastic miniature range by Games Workshop for the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness game. So this is the limited release, whatever you want to call it. They didn't make a million. Legiones Astartes battle group. This consists of 30 MKIIIs, 30 MKIIIs, 3 times 10, a Landraid Proce stroke carrier, and a Deredeo, Deredeo, however you say it, fire support dreadnought with plasma. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look in this box. Mainly, we're looking at these guys. We'll have a soupçon of a perusal at the Landraid carrier and the Deredeo, but the focus of today is this guy here, all those Mark IIIs. So we're going to look in the box. I'll show you some of the models. I will do a session of Leak-o-nomics to evaluate the value of this particular box set from a couple of perspectives, just to see if this is a good deal. I will then go away and make a MKIII Space Marine, and we will have a look at it. And then we will look over the design a bit and reflect on its origins and how it pays many tributes to the art and design of the MKIII Space Marine throughout Warhammer 40,000 and the Horus Heresy's history. So that is a plan. So without further ado, let's get inside. Firstly, we need to pass the seals of sealage. Oh, this is so cool. It's not often that we get new Space Marine models. So inside his box, we have an instruction sheet, which is now avec colour. It's now in colour, which actually that's a nice step forward on the previous ones. And this includes all of the instructions for making the models therein. And that includes a MKIII squad, which comes in a tactical and tactical support variety. Ooh, Volkites and rotor cannons. The Deredeo, so loads of stuff there. Obviously, there's a question there about how to get its arms moving. And then the Landraid carrier stroke Proteus. And for this kit, you get all the parts for both the Landraid carrier and Proteus, and both versions of the Deredeo kit as sold in the separate Deredeo Anvilus pattern, which is the Anvilus pattern autocannons and the Hellfire plasma carronade, along with the Aeolus missile launcher. Still no mystical atomantic paviso. So yes, a nice sheet of instructions. Right, so then in terms of sprues, we get the Landraider, we get the Eddy. Yeah, that's right, back in Rogue Trader era, when the Deredeo Dreadnought was first named. Love to know where the name came from. If anyone knows that, comments please. That comes on 2 sprues, or 2 super sprues, or 4 half sprues. So quick things. So one lovely thing here, we get multi-torsos. We have Super Loyal, Bonus Traitoris, and let's call it Iron Warriors Ambivalence, which allows the addition of hazard stripes while also not clearly declaring for either the War Master or the Emperor. So very nice stuff. And the very fact that you get the whole smorgasbord of weapons for one particular set is brilliant. I mean, and just way cheaper than in the Forge World era. I love the Forge World era, but this is way cheaper and it's plastic. Extra super bonus points for a reversion to the original artistic design concept on the Anvilus autocannon, which was without a barrel strut. People will remember that partway through production they put a strut on this because of a bending. That's fantastic. So the Landraid Proce, that comes on 3½ sprues. I stand corrected. That comes on 4 sprues because you get 3 sprues for the kit. You get the ever ubiquitous and lovely accessory and cupola set, which is particularly welcome here because we get Samson and his Mark II helmet on here, don't we? There. I think I've got enough Mark II helmets for maybe 5 guys now. And then a cannon, then a sprue of laser cannons spares here, which is great. I mean, that's a fantastic kit. You'll remember that the Landraid Proce was one of my bugbear kits from the Horus Heresy age. This is what it looks like when it's built. Lovely model, absolutely bob on. Fantastic, no criticisms of this whatsoever. I mean, it's so good. As a matter of fact, I decided to interview a Landraid Proce earlier. Let's see what it had to say. Okay, so perhaps one shouldn't ask a Silica Animus adjacent machine spirit a question like that. But yeah, brilliant kit, fantastic. Then we have the main event. So we shall purge items from the area of view. Hopefully the lighting's okay today. I'm having that very English phenomenon of bad light, but unlike cricket, we will not be stopping play today. So the new Mark III sprue. So ta-da! Each sprue, this is same size as the Mark VI sprue that came out last year in 2022. Each sprue contains the components to make 5 Space Marines armed with bolters, and in this instance they are equipped with the chunky and thuggish Phobos pattern. And we might call this a Phobos beta pattern because it's a slightly different take on Phobos bolters of old. And here we have brother Seth, who is a Mark III Iron Hand of ye olde pattern. That's how it used to look, and that's how it now looks. So an evolution of a design. Is it better? I think it's entirely taste. Is it different and new? Yeah, sure. And I like it. I like how it's got sort of a chunky brutalness. So other initial observations about this. So first thing, a big improvement on the Mark III kit that this one is replacing is one-piece backpacks. Oh my goodness me. Thank the Omnisire. This is brilliant. One of the things that I didn't like about the previous Mark III kit was the 2-piece backpacks, and they were one of the most obnoxious plastic kit designs that Games Workshop's ever done. I mean, I only ever built one, Mark III Marine from plastic, because I just detested these so much. So I always went for other marks. So with this re-image kit, I'm so pleased, and I'm really glad that GW's addressed that with a great new bit of design. For those people who are suffering from pauldron PTSD from the Mark VIs, you'll be pleased to know that the pauldrons are all now singular pieces, so no joins of doom. Although, you know, it's easy enough to do if you knew how. Other things, so we have a variety of helms apparent. We have the distinctive helmet spike, so this is definitely gives them a sort of bad guy look. It is reminiscent of the Pickelhaube, made infamous by Imperial Germany of the 19th century in particular, and early 20th century. There's a variety of different respirator grill orientation or air filter orientations, much like the Mark VIs to add variety. This guy though I really like with a solid face plate, which is mirroring the design of the Breacher Squad by Forge World, the helmet there. So very nice. And all the parts look the same in terms of the basic design. And this kit, the way it's been designed is it is as part of an interchangeable modular marine system, whereby you'll be able to, you can take the heavy weapon sets and special weapon sets, so these are the special weapons. And this one kit can be attached to any Space Marines. This one set of weapons, and the same also applies to the 3 or 4 heavy weapon sets, I just forget now how many there are. And they can all be used regardless of what mark of model. And I'm sure we are going to get Mark IVs and Mark IIs and Mark Vs maybe as time goes on. And that means that you've got one set of weapons that can work with all. Now that does pose some challenges. And here we have the van brace corner of adaptation. And what these are van braces that you can stick onto the weapon arms that come with a shoulder-mounted heavy weapons, so you can then use the kits that were originally released for Mark VIs. Here's a hint. They were designed for every mark and modified the arms to look like Mark IIIs. A little bit of creative liberty taken there, but I think that's the trade-off. Either you have one set of weapons with plastic Marines, because Games Workshop has they're not going to invest the money. It's too much investment to make a different set of posers and 4 sets of heavy weapons, 5 sets heavy and special weapons for every single armor mark. That's just too much investment for them. So they've worked out this way, and the good thing about it is it means we've got all the weapons for the options in the armor lists alongside plastic models, so they're in plastic and they're not in resin. The other option that I think they would have been able to produce would have been different poses for each armor mark, but then having to have resin upgrade sets for the special weapons, which I don't think would have been as good, and it would have certainly cost a lot more money. So yeah, so lots and lots of nice new Marines, and it's probably going to take me a bit of time to get my eye in on them, but they're all, there seems to be a common theme of smooth armor with a cranial buckle helm. Those people who wanted to buy the Sons of Horus upgrade sets, the special weapon sets, we got a sneak peek in that of what the armor configuration would look like when they release that. And that was a nice little Easter egg. I'm not sure what that is yet. Oh, I think that's at someone's knee. No, I don't know, actually. I'm not sure what 51 or... no, I'm not sure what Part 21 is, what the mystery of Part 21. And then we also get 2 new unhelmeted heads, one which is a stern-looking guy, perhaps a little less traitorous looking, and then one with a respirator fitted, which gives it a nice menacing feel for those people wanting to make their traitors look a bit more intimidating, or Iron Hands players. Awesome. Just having a little peruse around the sprue. Yeah. Looks fantastic. So you get 6 of these sprues, so you get 30. In addition, you get a special weapon sprue. So this has a flamer, a rotor cannon, a Volkite charger, a Volkite caliver, a plasma gun, and a melter gun. And then you can use it. So in theory, you get enough special weapons to equip all 30. Difficult to make work in an armor list, but hey, it's a possibility. And that's a nice addition to add a bit of flavour to the kit. You also get bases, of course. You get quite a lot of transfers. You get 2 squads like this. I mean, these are obviously focused on Sons of Horus and the Imperial Fists. You know, Games Workshop will always choose one to do. And then you get these 2, which are described as Astartes vehicle transfers. So I'm guessing, obviously, these are designed for dreadnoughts and vehicles. You get those. And then the final 3 sprues, and again this is a modular selection of these, which is the command upgrade sets, or command upgrade sprues. So this includes bayonets, it includes pistols, melter bombs, grenades, it includes a Nuncio Vox, it includes a power sword, it includes a power fist and a lightning claw attachment if you are feeling spiky in Night Lords, a pistol of plasma pistol, a melting bomb, a Vox operator head, Avec respirator and Sans respirator. And some equipment pouches. Oh, and a crest of command. Oh, and I don't know what these are. Are these maps? Are they novelty toilet rolls? I don't know, but you get them, and that's cool. Oh, and augury scanner. See, so many bits. And this is another universal sprue that works between all of the different sets. And again, you know, that's kind of like a trade-off. Do you want resin upgrade bits, or do you want all plastic with some shared components between them? That's where it is. And with the way this range is going, which I ultimately think is going to give us all of the armor marks in plastic, and there's got to be some compromises made in terms of catalogue complexity. So yeah, anyone who were to say it's lazy kit design, I just think that's lazy criticism. So that is a quick skirt around the parts. As I said, we will come back and take a look at an assembled Marine later on. But first, let's have a quick episode of Leak-o-nomics to evaluate the value of this particular box set. Oh, look at that. Almost fits in shot. Almost got away with the bit that I had to cut out because I made a mathematical error. Right, Leak-o-nomics. We all love a bit of Leak-o-nomics. Leak-o-nomics is where I say, what is the value of a particular combined set that Games Workshop produces, and I work it out in terms of a saving. So, Space Marine Battle Group value. So this box retails for £125 of UK sterling retail monies. If you live elsewhere in the world, yeah, I can't do these evaluations for you because I haven't got enough time. But the same basic principle applies. If you can still work out the separates percentage changes. I don't know if it'll be the same. I presume it will be, but I can't be sure. Right, separates. 1 Landraid Proce carrier, £55. 1 Deredeo dreadnought, £50. 3 Mark III tactical squads. Well, that should say 30, but, you know, that's just Saturday brain. And because, you know, I was in Saturday brain, I put £45 times 3, which equals £135. Now, that would be 60 Mark II, so I then had to do divide by 2. And in a little bit of a car crash number writing it, we ended up at 67.50. So that's 60 Marines, £135 divided by 2, 67.50 for 30. And then finally, we get 1 special weapon sprue. This retails for £14, so quite a bit actually. And that is arrived at by the kit price, which contains 2 at £28 divided by 2. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. Total separate value, £186 and 50 pennies. Therefore, the saving for the box set, Legiones Astartes Battle Group, is £61 and 50 pence, and there's a percentage discount on the retail, it's 33%. So a third. That's pretty good. You know, it's not as good as what was offered in the Age of Darkness box, but, you know, these starter boxes are always front-loaded in value because it's a starter box and they want you to buy into the game. Still, it is a saving, and, you know, as the old saying goes, never look a gift horse in the mouth. Now, if we extrapolate our think a bit further to say, if I bought this from an independent store, so this again is using the United Kingdom examplet, we could probably get this for £100. It might be slightly cheaper, but you know, doing a quick check, £100 seems to be about the cheapest. So if it's £100 worked out as a saving against 186.50, the percentage saving then becomes a rather juicier 45.5%. And look at that, I even gave you the first decimal place there. Very generous today. That's a little bit of analysis of the value of this box set. It's good. Is it as good as Age of Darkness? No, but that's a starter set. That's the nature of the game. Right, that's enough waffling about the actual box set. I'm now going to go away and make some of these lovely Mark IIIs. And then we're going to come back and take a look and have a general peruse around the model. See you soon. Okay then, so I've done a bit of building, I've had a bit of lunch, and now we pick up again with a couple of completed Mark III models. So let's have a look at these two. So I've built two just to give us a feel for the style and the design a bit. Here we go. A little look-ski around the model. Very nice. These are standard tactical marines. They're equipped with Phobos bolters, got a sidearm and a bit of equipment. But very nice. Got a little Imperial Eagle design on the casement of a bolt gun. May want to remove those. I might remove those myself. But not everyone has it, as you can see. This guy here has got the smooth-fronted faceplate in the style of the Breach Marine. Yeah, very good. In terms of some details, I mean, you've got this sort of rear banded armour. This is very reminiscent of early takes, you know, the original artwork and some of the miniatures. Pictures coming on now to see. Takes on Mark III and more recent ones, such as the Iron Hands member of Kill Team Cassius and a very recent vintage, Fafnir Ran. And obviously with Fafnir Ran, the spiked helmet was hiding in plain sight, and it's been hiding in plain sight for 3 years now. So yeah, there's a funny one. Got an evolved form of design, so slightly different take on the layout of these backpacks, but we've still got this big old circular fan in the style of the previous ones. These large main cooling vents. Like I said before, this is such a better design than the previous plastic Mark III. Absolute lovely thing to put together by comparison. Yeah, good stuff. Let's take a look at his brother. So a couple of the poses here. This time I've gone with one of the grilled face helms. Again, a bit of equipment. And the design language is very consistent between the two. The Phobos bolters, slightly different take on the design. It's got a pair of muzzle brake holes. These are 2 different diameters. Now, my approach here, if you're like me and you suffer from barrel drill-itis, what I found was the drill bit that nicely does the forward muzzle brake aperture also does the barrel nicely, and then a slightly narrower drill to do the rear one. And as you see, we can see my barrel drill-itis affliction in full force here, but you don't need to do that, but it is a nice way to enhance the detail if you choose to do so. So we've got the classic themes of the design, so the banded rear armour, the thick heavy front plates, the extra chest armour, pauldrons with additional armour plating at the apex of the shoulder. Very good. If you look at the artwork of one of the flesh tearers, you see some armour very similar to this as well. I wonder if there's a little nod there. There's all sorts of nods to previous Heresy designs. The original John Blanche artwork, the original miniatures, various generations of miniatures that have come through the years, Kill Team model, like I said, and then also some of the artwork. And we can now see a really well-known piece of art by Adrian Smith from Horus Heresy Book 1 Betrayal of a Death Guard. And I can't help but draw conclusions between how he imagined these Mark IIIs and how the sculptors designed to create them. And you can see that with the curved armour plates. So while the design is new and has some new stylistic elements, it's absolutely faithful to imagery and artwork that has come from the preceding 40k and Horus Heresy universe. So yeah, I think they look great, and I really appreciate how the design work's been done. And I have heard a couple of comments to say that the armour is a retcon. It's just not worthy of comment on. It's not a retcon design. Anyone saying that, they don't understand the use of the word retcon, and they also don't understand the subject material. So let's do a quick size comparison, and the obvious thing to do a size comparison against is one of the new Beaky Marines. So there, these were released in the Age of Darkness box set. Mark VIs made a much welcome return. And size-wise, if I can get it right, they are pretty much the same. Well, they are the same. But the Mark IIIs have got some notable extra bulk to them, which fits with that feeling of extra layered armour. I will be interested to see if these bolters, the Phobos bolters, will go on these guys. I'm sure they will. I'm also interested to see people experiment with swapping legs between like poses, because they use the same standard chassis as I discussed earlier for weapon kit compatibility between the two in terms of the layout of the pose. Interested to see if you can swap armour elements between them. Certainly the van bracers for the heavy weapon troopers could go on these guys. And if you're interested in kit bashing the armour marks, I think as the years go by and more of these new pattern kits get released, that'll improve. And, you know, if we continue just to compare against the Mark VIs, you know, they do look good. You know, and obviously the fact that there's only 5 poses is clearly very lazy design, because, you know, they just all look identical, don't they? And there's no variety whatsoever between how you can make the different Mark VIs look. And the same will be true of the Mark IIIs. You know, a bit of imagination, variety of weapons, as you're probably going to need for your army anyway. And yeah, I see loads of variety and possibility in terms of how you can make these models and make them interesting. I mean, these two models here are on the same pose chassis. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, anyone who says it's lazy design, well, as I said before, that's a lazy criticism. Yeah, I mean, just look, you know, they're all identical, aren't they? There's no variety in any of these miniatures, you know. And what we've got here is just a few selections of my Mark VIs. I've built 80 of these in total, and every single one, without fail, is different. Right, anyway, that little micro snark out the way, let me give some opinions and observations on the actual Mark III kit. So having actually bought these myself, built them, built the first couple, I've got a fairly good feel for what these are like, and I thought I'd share some of the observations. So firstly, in terms of a cleanup, these are a dream. The Mark VIs were well designed in terms of hiding mould seams along edges and in a manner that didn't require cleanup. These are even better. So for example, these edges of a forward armour plate, they used to hide the mould line. Brilliant. Aside from that, the actual quality of the injection moulds is very high. There's very minimal mould lines to remove. So I was very pleased with that. The models fit together very well in terms of a torso. It's a very precise fit, perhaps even a bit more precisely on the upper torso than the previous Mark IIIs. You can't tell how many bits these are made out of. The fit is very precise, it's excellent. The arms are a little bit different. On the Mark IIIs, the arms came with notches so you could mount them correctly, or correctly as in standard manufactured pose. Here they've eliminated those nubs so you have more freedom of movement in terms of how you lie on the arm. Now interestingly, the nubs are eliminated on the torso, but the mounting points are still on the arm. So if you took the arms and put them on the Mark IVs, they would still fit on the nubs. But it means on the Mark IIIs it's easier to create a variety of poses. Now I did that with loads of my Mark IVs. I cut the nubs off, swapped the arms around and created a variety of poses. So you could do it with the Mark VIs, but it's just that bit easier on the new Mark III. So yeah, that's good. The backpack, much easier, easier than the Mark VI to clean up because it doesn't have all those ribs. So that's nice. One thing that was tricky is there is a mounting nub here, an injection point, and that was quite tricky to remove with a knife. So you do want to be careful when you're taking it out so you don't damage these details. So that is one thing to watch out for. Another thing to watch out for is, although these are proportioned the same as the Mark VIs, they are bulkier because of the extra armour, and you need to be a bit more careful with your equipment placement as a result. And you've got a bit less space, particularly with the pistol holsters, and you might want to put your pistol holsters on and test fit with the pauldron at the same time, in particular on that. Less of an issue for grenades, but still something to be mindful of. The 3 rack of grenades, I don't know if you'll be able to fit those on. That's fine, so I just cut mine into, as I've been doing on my Mark VIs, cut them into 2s and 1s. So that's just one thing to watch out for. Pauldrons are absolute doddle. It's a single pauldron design that does both sides, so very uniform. I wonder if we're going to get some Legion specific versions of this as time goes on, but as they are, you've got a nice big space. It's easy to do. You don't have to stick them together like the Mark VIs with the molecular bonding studs that is so iconic to that design. So you've got a nice big area for painting insignia or applying transfers, so that is good. I think that's probably about it in terms of observations on the build. I mean, yeah, they're pretty straightforward to do. Cleanup in particular, I found very pleasingly easy. I mean, I thought the Mark VIs were easy to do, but these are even easier, believe it or not. And that is actually an interesting paradigm shift because the previous Mark IIIs were an absolute pain in the posterior to do. There was a lot of cleanup. Here, very little. And an excellent kit design, so yeah, I really appreciate the work the designers did there. No laziness whatsoever in terms of their commitment to making the modeller's life easier with model cleanup. So there you go. I think that's probably about all that I want to say on the new Mark IIIs. Be interesting to see some converted using the despoiler arms. That could work. Attaching the van braces on. There is the Assault Marine kit coming sometime this winter, along with a command squad and a plastic melee weapon kit sprue. So if you're not wanting to spend the money on the resin despoiler parts, which obviously have their own benefit because you can heat them up to get new poses, but if you're not wanting to spend that much money, wait for those plastic kits to be released. The Assault Squad, the Command Squad, and the plastic melee weapon kit. And that combined with these is going to open up a huge number of opportunities in creating unique and individual models. I mean, like I said, I've got 80 Mark VIs and no two are exactly alike. They're all different. And I've done that with the kit as it is and the upgrade sets, a few resin upgrade sets. With the plastics coming, that's just going to get that much easier and considerably cheaper. So I hope you've enjoyed that quick video. Many different bits that I've tried to cover off. History, value, design, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's perhaps been a little bit bitty, but I hope you've enjoyed me trying to cover so many different aspects of the new Space Marine Mark III Iron Armour kit for the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. One last thing I do need to say about the new Mark III kit, and this also applies to the Mark VI. The kits are proper tactical squad kits. The Calf Mark IVs and the Prospero Mark IIIs were sort of a tactical, slightly compromised to do veteran squad loadouts. In effect, they were jack of all trades but master of none. And those kits were always missing some key components. So, for example, they didn't have Vexlers and they didn't have a Nuncio box, which are key pieces of gear for tactical squads, and the new system gives us proper tactical squads with all the gear. So it takes the approach of doing 100% of a squad rather than doing 90% and then leaving everybody to their own devices to fix that remaining 10%. So another little observation I've had on the new kit designs for the Marine models. So yeah, that's all. So looking forward, well, I'm hoping that we will see a new Mark II, a new Mark IV, and maybe even a Mark V in the same sort of design as these, using the same weapon system for compatibility, and also made to the new proportions, which I do like. I think they look really good. So many opportunities there for interchangeability if those kits come out. And of course, these are plastic, modern designs, and affordable, certainly compared to their resin forebears. And, you know, we all love the resin forebears, and these models take nothing away from those. But these are the new way forward now. And things change, and 40k, if nothing else, and the Heresy are dynamic environments that have never been fixed. They've always been evolving and changing over time. So yes, so I look forward to future new kits. Anyway, so I hope you found that an interesting video to listen to. As always, please do share your thoughts and observations in the comment section. What are your experiences of modelling and working with the new Mark VIs, and if you've been able to get your hands on the new Mark IIIs, you know, bought your own, what have you found so far with making the kit? What are your feelings and thoughts on that? As always, I'll be interested to hear that. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.